I was reading a piece earlier on, which also talked about how the escalation which has happened between India and Pakistan, China has gained a lot of information on the kind of responses that India has done. How do you see the kind of information in terms of advantage that China may have gained in what has just played out?
Well, it's quite obvious that China would have an interest in a limited, this 4-day, war between India and Pakistan, because at the end of the day, China is an adversary. We fought a war in 1962. We had this standoff. We are having a continuing standoff on the line of actual control as well. So China would have an obvious interest, and they would want to see what are the platforms India uses, what are the kind of technologies India has, how have the Rafales performed, etc. So obviously China would gather a lot of information on this, and the fact that 81% of Pakistan military hardware is now of Chinese origin. 81%.
81%.
81%, which means that they would also be interested in knowing how their platforms have performed in Pakistan. So from that point of view, yes, China would have gained a lot of information based on this, because you see, this is the first time we saw a war between India and Pakistan which was fought entirely using drones and missiles and artillery fire.
Right.
There was no tanks. No tanks were involved. No, combat troops were involved. This was really fought on a very high-tech platform, mainly using drones. And that's why I think China would also take whatever lessons it can from this. That if tomorrow there is a war between India and China, how is that war going to be? How is that war going to pan out? What kind of platform could be used? What kind of technologies China would use? I think for us also there have been a lot of learnings, because we now understand, what is the depth in Pakistan, how do the air defenses work, etc., and how they can be taken out.
Right. So a lot of information on both sides.
Yes, I think war is always a means to sort of gather information on future scenarios,
right,
and do war gaming based on that.